Hello everyone and welcome to Life Begins at 20. My name is Mark and today we have episode 15 of Booster Pack Friday. For those new to the series, we're going to open up a booster pack and find out what pick one would be from them. So if you enjoy the video, do hit that like button, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. So let's get stuck in. There's still a couple more cards left from this set that I'm after, so hopefully, this pack could bring us something really nice. So let's get started here. So first up, we've got Take Into Custody. So for a blue, you get to tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. That's a pretty useful spell there. Not necessarily going to be a first pick option at all, but it's a nice spell. There we go. Next, we've got Aether Chaser. So for 1 and a red, it's a 2/1 with First Strike, which is really nice. And when it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. Whenever it attacks, you may pay the 2 energy to create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token as well, which is really nice to have. It's a really nice card, really strong card, and I definitely put it into my top 10 list for cube card here, because I just think this is really nice. If you can get lots more energy, you're going to create a lot more servos as well. And a 2/1 with First Strike just means that even if it gets chump blocked by a couple of servos, it would need 3 to be able to get rid of it, and that's really nice to have. Next up, we've got Foundry Assembler. So for 5, it's a 3/3, but it's got improvise there, so your artifacts can help you cast this spell, and it can make it a lot cheaper. So if you've got plenty of servos out, you can get yourself a really cheap creature there, which is nice. Next, we've got Renegade's Getaway. So for 2 and a black, target permanent gains indestructible to the end of turn, and you get to create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token as well. So not only do you get to keeping a creature alive that may well be getting destroyed via a piece of removal, or it's in combat, you're getting yourself a creature as well. So that's fairly useful for that slightly high mana cost there. Next, we've got Consulate Turret. So for 3, you can tap it to gain an energy, that's actually pretty decent. You can tap it and pay 3 energy to deal 2 damage to target player. So if you're getting to create yourself a lot of energy, that's going to be really nice. Even over the course of the game, if you're not having anything to do, tapping that to gain yourself some energy and then hitting for an extra 2 damage, they're not necessarily expecting. That's actually quite nice to have. Next up, we've got Aether Stream Leopard here. So for 2 and a green, it's a 2/3 with Trample. When it enters the battlefield, you get 1 energy, and whenever it attacks, you can pay 1 energy to give it +2/+0 to the end of turn. So realistically, the first turn of combat, it's a 4/3 with Trample, which is quite nice. If you can create more energy, keeping it as a 4/3 is actually going to do you some really good work there, so that's quite a nice card to have. Next up, we've got Implement of Combustion. So for 1, you can pay 1 red mana, you can then sacrifice it to deal 1 damage to target player, and then when it's put into the graveyard, draw a card as well. So realistically, for 1 red, you've got 1 damage to a player and drawing a card. So if you think that's worth it, then great. Next up, we've got Conviction here. So for 1 and a white, you get to enchant target creature. It gets +1/+3, and you can pay 1 right to return it to its owner's hand. So you're getting yourself a Revolt trigger there, which is pretty decent. I mean, you can get a Revolt trigger from this, and then buffing up a creature +1/+3 isn't too bad, and then you can always put this on other things as well, so that's not too bad a card there. Next up, we've got Universal Solvent. So for 1, it's an artifact where you pay 7 and tap it to destroy and sacrifice it to destroy target permanent. Realistically, this is actually more likely to be used just for your improvise costs there, so being able to tap it to help pay for lots of spells. And to be fair, there are a hell of a lot of spells within this set that use improvise as well, so it may well be decent for that. Next up, we've got High Spire Infusion. So for 1 and a green, target creature gets +3/+3 to the end of turn, and you get 2 energy. That's actually pretty decent there. You may end up getting a creature that's either going to hit in for a lot of extra damage or protect itself from something bigger blocking it, and getting a couple of energy is also quite useful. Next up, we've got Enraged Giant. So for 5 and a red, you've got yourself a 4/4 with Improvise there, and Trample and Haste. So if you've got a fair few artifacts to bring this down to, say, I don't know, a 4 cost or a 3 cost, swinging in straight away with that's going to get you some decent work there as well, so I do like that. Next up, we've got Shielded Aether Thief. So for 1 and a blue, it's a 0/4 with Flash, so it's a good defender to have there. Whenever it blocks, you get 1 energy, and you can pay 3 energy and tapping it to draw a card. So that's actually going to be pretty nice. You're going to be able to block quite regularly with this as well, so I do like that. Next up, we've got Pacification Array. So for 1, it's an artifact where you can pay 2 and tap it to tap target artifact or creature. I mean, those abilities are really, really useful to have as well, especially in a limited game. So I'm quite happy to see that. And if you haven't got anything to pay 2 mana for, you can always use it as an improvised cost as well. So that's really nice. And our rare is Call for Unity. So for 3 and 2 white, it's an enchantment that's got Revolt. So at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a Unity counter on it, and creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Unity counter on it. So Revolt triggers, like I said before, are very, very easy to actually get off. So I wouldn't worry about that in the slightest. The downside for me is this is actually very, very expensive unless you can get a few turns out of it. I mean, hypothetically, you know, you can get this out for 3 or 4 turns, getting all your creatures getting +4/+4. That's going to do some great work for you. But by that point in time, I would have thought your opponent would have had something to either deal with this or deal with the creatures you've got. So I'm not too happy with this as a rare there. And we've got an island and an energy reserve. It's a shame that the rare wasn't that great within this pack, but I'd have to go with Aether Chaser. A 2/1 with First Strike for 2 is great for an aggressive deck. The 2 energy, it can be used as an extra body if you're creating that 1/1 servo when it attacks, or elsewhere depending on your strategy. The downside is late game if it comes out and you wanted to create that body and your opponent's got herself a big blocker in the way, you may not be able to get that extra body without losing this guy. So overall, not the best pack in the world there. I mean, I'm happy to see Aether Chaser. I think that's a great pick just because of how cheap it is and how much power it actually gives you for that 2 mana. Do let me know in the comments section below what your pick would have been. Would you have gone the same route as me? Would you have gone Pacification Array to tap things down? Would you have gone for a blocker for some energy? Enraged Giant for a potential bomb? Or any of the other cards that we have in this set? If you enjoyed the video, do hit the thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.